Hello, scholars! Today we're going to be drawing a beautiful sunset with some hot air balloons in the sky. We can also add extra details like mountains at the bottom or trees. What you're going to need for this project is at least 3 colors for the sky. You can also do 4. You need at least 1 paintbrush. And you also need some water for your paintbrush. It will help if you have something to dry your hands with and something to dry the paintbrushes with when you're changing colors. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So if you have a brush that has a flat tip like this is the type that you're going to want to use. If not, this will work too, but because we're blending the colors in the sky, it's going to be a lot easier if we have a flat brush. I'm going to dip it in water, and then I'm going to dry it off on my paper just so it has enough water to pick up the paint. Now, I'm going to start with the lightest color first, and then I'm going to build on top of that. So yellow is our lightest color. Now, the sky is going to be all of this area. Down here is where I'm going to put mountains or trees or whatever. So I'm going to put about 2 fingers worth of space down here because I know I'm going to have mountains and I don't need to color them yellow. So above my fingers is where I'm going to start the color. Now remember, when we use paint, we don't want to get paint on here. We only need to pick up a little bit of paint on the brush. So I'm going to start right up here and I'm just going to go across. Now, of course, if you need more water, you can get a little more water. And it'll make it a lot easier to brush the paint on your canvas. Now your canvas might be a little bit bigger than this one, but this is a 5x7 canvas. So remember, when you are dipping your paintbrush in water, you shouldn't be going like this and moving all the paint around because it's going to get your water dirty. So it's okay to go like this real quick and get a little bit of water, but the color of your water should stay clear. So I'm still using only 1 color, which is why I haven't cleaned my brush off. So here is the first color that we have on our canvas. I'm just trying to get kind of probably an inch or 2 of yellow, and we're gonna blend the colors going all the way up. Now while I'm doing this, you guys should be doing the same thing. So I'm trying to go a little bit slow so everyone has time to follow along. Now it doesn't have to be this perfectly straight. Remember, this is art. Art's not perfect. It's okay. Alright, now we got to move on to the next color. So orange will be the next color. And if you don't have orange, remember that mixing yellow and red also makes orange. But I don't need to do that because we have orange paint. So we are changing colors. When we change color, we dry off our brush on paper, if you have it. That way we can pick up water without dirtying the water too much. See, my water got a little bit yellow, but not too bad. Now I'm gonna pick up the next color. When you blend, it's okay if the colors mix a little bit since they're gonna mix on your canvas anyway. But I want to do this properly. So now I'm getting orange and I'm going to make another line going across my canvas. And then I'm going to have these 2 colors blend together. But first I want to get the color down on the canvas. There we go. Now I can start blending them together. If you have a sponge to blend with, it will be a lot easier. But if you don't, that's okay too. I'm just using this flat brush. Now to get the colors to blend, you want them both to be wet. And you just want to go back and forth like how I'm doing until the colors look like they're blending together nice and smoothly. We don't want any sharp lines. This is okay. This is really good over here. Now, if you see that you're blending too much, you could always go back when it's dry and add some more yellow or whatever color you need. But I like it how it looks. That's pretty good. Sometimes I use my finger to take off some color that I don't want, and that's okay too. I use my fingers in art all the time. All right, now let's go to red. So right now you should have yellow, about 2 fingers up, about 1 inch, yellow and orange. Now we're gonna go to red. So red is pretty much just orange without yellow, right? If I want to, I could just grab it without cleaning my brush. However, I always like to not mix the colors that are in here, especially if someone else is using them with me, because we don't want other scholars to dirty the colors and then we don't have the correct colors. So I'm just gonna dry my brush, get some water, clean my brush a little bit. Remember, my water should be as clear as possible. That way it doesn't muddy up the colors. Now we're gonna go to red. I'm gonna get a little more water. It makes the color smoother. And I'm going to make my 3rd color on the top of the canvas. Now I still wanna leave some space up here for the darkest color, which is, well, black is the darkest color, but for the purple that we're gonna put in the sky, because this is a sunset, so it's going from the sunny day to night, and I really like adding purple at the top. So we don't want to put this all the way to the top unless we only have 3 colors. There we go. Now we're going to blend the red and the orange. Now all you have to do is just go across it, not hard, and let it blend with the brush. I'm not applying a lot of pressure when I do this. If you see that it's not blending perfectly or you don't like how it looks, remember you could always just go like this with your finger and it'll help take off some of the pigment that's on there. Ta-da! All right, so now I'm gonna give you guys a little more time actually, because I'm not sure if you're done. And I'll keep blending the colors. I wanna make sure everybody has time to do this. We don't wanna rush in art. As a reminder, when you are painting, the paint should only be on the brush. We don't want it to get on this part. It's gonna make a mess for no reason. You can't paint with the metal. All right. Hopefully I've given you guys enough time. I'm gonna start cleaning off my brush. And if you have a 4th color for the sky, either blue or purple or something dark, we're gonna put the darkest color up here so it starts looking like it's getting night sky-ish. All right, cleaning off my brush. And now I'm gonna pick up purple. All right. Now this color, again, is going to be the darkest color, which is why I put it last. I like to put my lightest colors first so that they don't get muddy if my paint gets, or excuse me, if my water gets dirty. If the water gets dirty and I'm putting a dark color, it's not as obvious when I pick it up. All right, now I gotta blend them. Now that I've put the color down. So I'm gonna go across the line where the colors are, and I'm gonna let them blend. If I need to pull the color down, that's fine too. And remember, you could also add more of either color. So if you see that you lost all the red, you can go back and add more. Now I'm left-handed, so it might look weird that I'm holding my brush with my left hand, But either way, we're just going side to side. Trying to get the colors to blend. So these colors should not look like they have harsh lines in between them. It's a little more clear how these are blended together. This, it's a little harder since the colors are not that close on the color wheel. Red, orange, and yellow are warm colors, where purple is a cool color, so it's on the opposite side of the color wheel, making it a little harder to blend. But it still looks pretty good, right? Now I see a little bit of missing color here. I could go back, but you know what? I don't need to because we're also going to do hot air balloons in the sky, and I'll probably put one right there so you can't see these little mistakes of missing color. So again, I'm going to clean off my brush, even though the next color I'm going to pick is black, which isn't going to get messed up by mixing colors. But I still want to make sure that my water is as clear as possible. So there we go. And now we're gonna do the mountains and anything else that we want, including the hot air balloons. I wanna wait for this to dry, but I know it's gonna take quite a long time. So instead, I'll do the bottom part first because there's nothing down there, and then I'll do the hot air balloons after. So now we have this much space to put mountains. I'm probably gonna put one going here and another one going here, but you can make the mountain or whatever it is look like however you want. Meaning if you have some kind of, I don't know, maybe a house or something that you want to put down here, that's fine because it's only gonna be the shadows of those things. It's all gonna be black. So I'll show you what it looks like. Let's go ahead and start by making all of this black, since this is going to be the foreground, meaning the very front of my canvas, the very front of my picture. This would be the middle and background. Okay, so here we have the bottom. Now, if you wanted to leave it like this and just put some little blades of grass or something, you could. But I want to add some kind of mountains or something, so I'm going to do that now. Let's see, let's make one mountain going this way. I guess it's more like a hill, right? But we don't want to make it too big because then we'll lose all the yellow. Now it looks like I'm taking a whole long time making this perfect. And I always tell you guys it doesn't have to be perfect, but because I know some scholars work faster and slower than others, I have the time. So if you have time, remember, add more details. Now I've been using this whole brush this entire time. For stuff like this, it's probably easier to use this brush, but if you only have one brush, it doesn't really matter. This is showing you can make details even with the bigger brush, but of course details are a lot easier with a thinner brush. So I'm probably gonna switch over real quick, but let me finish this. Now if you're seeing that you're having these rough edges, the way to fix that is to add water. Whoops. If you add water, it should smooth out the edges. Now I'm going to use my right hand real quick. There we go. right, there is my hills, I guess. They're not really mountains. Now we gotta do any details at the bottom, like for example, grass or trees, and then we're gonna work on making the hot air balloons. Now before I leave my brush on the table, I want to clean it off because I don't want it to get messed up. My water's still pretty clear. Now I'm going to use the thinner brush. This brush is a little easier to make details with. Okay, so let's say I want to make a tree at the bottom. So first we got to make the stick, and so we can have different kinds of trees. So for this tree, we're just making the middle part of the tree, and then we're going to make lines going out like this. So they're kind of like curved lines, and the motion that I'm doing is just swooping to the side, like so. So this would be like kind of like a pine tree or one of those types of trees. But let's say you prefer the other type of tree. So let's do one of those over here. So I'm gonna make a stick coming out, and remember, trees are not perfect, so your lines do not have to be perfect either. Okay, after I make the trunk, I want to make some lines going out. So those are the branches. And trees have all kinds of different branches, so you can make yours however you want. And now we're going to make kind of like a little bushy part at the top. So to do this, I'm just dabbing my brush against the paper. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So those are two different types of trees that you could do on yours. Either one is fine, you can do more than one. And now we're gonna do the main event. We're gonna put the hot air balloons in the sky finally. So it seems like my canvas is pretty dry at the bottom. That's important because if I start putting black on top of these colors and I don't wait for them to dry, it's all gonna blend together. It's gonna get really muddy, so we don't want this part of our canvas to be wet, at least not too wet. So again, I'm putting a little bit of water on my brush. I'm not going all the way down. I don't want to dirty the water too much. And we're going to make a hot air balloon. So to do this, we're gonna start with kind of like a big balloon shape. We don't want it to be too big, of course, because our canvas is pretty small, but I'm gonna put it right over here. And I'm starting with the top of it. So hot air balloons, they look kind of like balloons, of course. So we want to make that rounded top, like so. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect because pretty much anyone who looks at this is gonna know it's a hot air balloon, but from the hot air balloon, there's little lines, like strings coming down, holding the bottom part. And now we're gonna make the little thing that people sit inside of. So that's gonna be kind of like a little square shape. Now, I'll probably add a picture of a real hot air balloon so you can see it. But remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, making skinny lines is a lot easier with this paintbrush, but if you don't have that paintbrush, you can always use the tip. That means not applying a lot of pressure and going like this. Now we're gonna add more hot air balloons. The bigger they are, the closer they're going to appear. The smaller they are, the further they're going to appear. So if I want to make a small one, it's going to look really far away. In fact, I think I'm going to put a small one down here. Now, remember, the bottom of the canvas is probably still wet. So when you're putting your hand on your canvas, be careful that you're not getting it all over yourself. That's what the paintbrush is for. You can hold it really far away. So let's do another one over here. Take your time. Okay, that's good enough. Now I'm going to put the two lines. And I'm going to put the little bottom of the card thing. There we go. So now that one looks like it's really far away. And now I'm going to put one more, probably over here. Now this one's going to be kind of a medium size, maybe big. Yeah, let's do 3 different sizes. So this one's going to be the biggest one. Oh, I messed up a little. So when you mess up, you just make the shape a little bit bigger. Sometimes it helps to turn the canvas to make straighter lines. I do that when I draw as well. There we go. So now we have 3 different size hot air balloons. And I just messed up again, so I gotta go back and make it bigger. There we go. Ta-da! Now if you want to add extra trees or add extra details, now's the time. I'm going to add a few more trees at the bottom of this. Now remember, they don't have to be perfect. They're just shadows of the trees. Now for a final touch, you could always add some little tiny yellow stars in the sky. But remember, it might look a little weird if you splatter too many of them. So the first thing I'm going to do is in this other spot, I'm going to get a little bit of yellow and I'm going to kind of water it up. But see, my paintbrush is dark, so it's not as bright as it could be. Since we're at the end, it doesn't matter if I muddy the colors too much. I just didn't want to do that at the beginning. And you can either add the dots like this, See? Or you can get your hands dirty and do this. Now, your teacher might not want you doing that, so if she tells you not to splatter paint like that, please do not. It will make a big mess. You can just dot one at a time. Ta-da! And we're finished. Let me move that little dot right there. Here's the finished product.